In this video, I will share with you 5 simple steps that I used to set up my life priorities. And I will also share with you the questions that I ask myself in order to clarify my thought process and get the best out of these 5 simple steps. All the recent changes that have happened and the challenges that I've had have made me want to clarify exactly what my top priorities are so that I can put my energy, time, and efforts into what really matters to me. In the past, I've tried to set up these life priorities, but I struggled because I didn't have clarity. I had conflicting goals sometimes, and the most famous of them all, there was just never enough time to do anything. This time around, I took 7 whole days to create and refine this process into 5 simple steps. If you don't do these steps in order, you might not get the clarity that you need, and you can avoid having regret of having focused all your life on the wrong priorities. Let's start. Step number 1 is to list focus areas that you are interested in. There are tons of focus areas in life. Some might be relevant to you and others might not be relevant to you. That's why it's important for you to take a bit of time to list these life priorities as focus areas. And to help you do so, you can ask yourself 3 simple questions. What are your current interests? What information are you currently seeking out? And how are you always trying to improve your life? When I ask myself these questions, I notice that over the years, I keep reading books, I keep searching the internet or watching documentaries and listening to podcasts that focus around certain areas that I'm interested in. So if you ask me, what am I interested in? I will simply go have a look at the books that I read, or I will look at my browsing history to see my interests, the searches that I make, the videos that I watch, and documentaries that I watch, and see the overall overarching focus areas I have. What do I always seek out information about? A good example for me is that I always look for ways to grow my wealth. So I will read a book about managing my money, or I will listen to a podcast talking about ways to invest, or any other thing that is related to growing my wealth. In no particular order, I ended up coming up with 5 different life areas, being relationships, wealth, health, hobbies, and my career. Focus areas are deeply personal, and this is by no means a complete list. So if you are struggling to come up with your own list of focus areas, you could ask AI to help you. A simple tool like ChatGPT can help you list a few focus areas, and you could perhaps choose 5 or 6 of them that you feel are relevant to your life. Step number 2 is to write down the purpose of each focus area. To come up with the purpose of each focus area, ask yourself, which challenge or problem are you always trying to solve? Let's take wealth as a focus area that we can use as an example. Which problem or challenge are you trying to solve when you are looking for information on the internet with regards to wealth? For some people, it's to get out of debt or stop living paycheck to paycheck. For somebody else, it might be to save up for their retirement. The problem I wanted to solve, for example, was to build wealth. Build and grow my wealth. I know that I don't want to stop working, but if anything should happen, I know that I want to still be able to afford the roof above my head and put food on my family's table. I also know that I want to build a legacy for my kids. And that's why wealth is one of my focus areas. And the problem that I'm trying to solve is to build and grow my wealth. For each of the focus areas that you have, ask yourself this question time and time again. What problem or challenge am I trying to solve? So for health, what problem or challenge am I trying to solve? The problem that I would want to solve in the long run is to have longevity. I want to grow into my old age without having serious illnesses and still remaining very fit and able to take care of myself. More importantly, in order for me to take care of my family, I need to remain healthy. These are the kind of questions that you should ask yourself. What problem or challenge are you trying to solve when you are looking at this area of focus? Step number 3 is to think about the habits that you want to develop in order to solve the challenges that you have listed in step number 2. To do this, ask yourself what behaviors or actions can you take up in order to resolve these challenges that you have posed in step number 2. Sticking to wealth as an example, because I want to build my wealth, there are 3 simple things that I do each month every time I receive my salary. I use my budget. I make sure that I save a portion of my salary, and a portion of that is used to buy some shares. With these 3 simple habits, I know that I can grow my savings and my investment portfolio in order to create wealth for myself. But for somebody else whose challenge is to get out of debt, then the habit that they could build is to actually pay up their credit card each time that they use it every month. For somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck, they could use a budget every month religiously and stop having out of budget expenses. If there's something that is out of budget, then they should be looking at maybe perhaps using a bit of the savings. But I know that once you start using a budget and you have a savings account, you will want to continue going and you will not want to take out anything from your savings in order to take care of expenses that might actually not be necessary at all. Step number 4 is to determine just how important each focus area is to you. Step number 4 is actually the part where you need to dig deep and find what is uniquely important to you. This will be different for everybody because we all have different habits that we want to build. We all have different purposes for the focus areas that we have in our lives. And this could be difficult for some people to do. But in order to help you along, you can ask yourself 2 questions. Just how much do I value this focus area? And am I willing to do this for the rest of my life? To answer the first question of how much do I actually value this focus area, I took a look at just how much effort I put into it, the time that I spend on it, and the money that I spend on this actual focus area. Going along with the example of using wealth as a focus area, how much money have I spent on it? Well, the easiest is to look at the amount of books that I have just covering the area of wealth. And it's a lot. How much time have I spent on it? I've spent time creating my own budget. By the way, I have it free and available for you to download in the description below if you would like to use it. I've spent time understanding how to use financial instruments and how to invest. So when it comes to the effort that I put in a lot of effort. Just looking at the financial statements of the companies takes such a lot of time and effort, and gaining an understanding of what the company does takes a substantial amount of time. You can ask yourself the question of, how much do I actually value this focus area for each of the focus areas? For health, how much time do you put into it? How much money do you spend on it? So in short, think about the money and investment that you've already made in the focus area. Think about the time that you've spent on it, and also the effort that you've already spent on it. If you think about these three aspects, you already know just how much you value that focus area. The second question is, are you willing to do this for the rest of your life? Certainly, I'm willing to do this. For the rest of my life, I'm willing to do the habits that I've already mentioned in step number 4. So, the 2 questions have been answered. And now it's time to move on to step number 5. Like I said before, step number 5 is the easiest of them all. And this is to simply place the focus areas that you have listed in numerical order. When I performed this, I knew that my most important life priority is my health. This was closely followed by relationships, then by my hobbies, building wealth. Yes, it came at number 4, and then my career. I only have 5 life priorities, and I want to focus all my efforts, energy, and time into making the most of these focus areas going forward. If you have found any part of this video to be valuable to you, please like the video below and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.